Good afternoon, all participants, and welcome to Workshop 4. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for this workshop, AI Enhanced Personalized Learning. We pleased to have Professor Xiangen from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University with us. Professor Xiangen is an expert in AI and education. So today, he will share how AI helps improve and personalized learning in the digital age. I warmly invite all participants to give a big applause to welcome our speaker.
So I'm going to use this. Okay, great. I'm going to use this one and also use this gadget. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad that I'm here and share some of my lessons, my frustrations, and some of the proud moments that I had in the last 3 years. And my topic is AI personalized learning, right? Let me make sure that the slide is right. Okay. So here's a question I ask myself when I get this. For those of us that actually taught for many years or are actually in education for quite some time, personalized learning, it's not necessarily that new, right? But if you think about what we had before, we go to classes, entire cohort go to a classroom, and we use same textbook, listen to the lecture, right? Well, at that time, we probably do not talk about personalized learning. We just do the same homework, everything, right? And then after that, we started having quote unquote personalized learning. And then I ask myself, so right now we have AI for the 3 years now. What is actually prevent us moving forward with personalized learning? Question. I think it's the lecture, okay? Nothing personal in the lectures, okay? So it's an adaptive. For example, if I give a lecture for the senior, then you're senior, not for junior. So in other words, so you are a senior, then you are go to the senior class, or not, that's at that level, but nothing personal. Because we producing a PowerPoint, as soon as the PowerPoint is produced, it's nothing personal. Okay, you all follow me each time. Okay. So when I accepted the task of having this workshop and also tomorrow's keynote, then I said, let's just break it. I'm going to make the lecture personalized. I'm not going to use like a PowerPoint. So what I'm showing you here, it's actually a PowerPoint style that is personalized. Because right now, think about this. Remember before, when we do not have our devices, we just go there and listen. Or we pretend that we're listening. As soon as we have cell phones, we just look at our cell phones. We go to Google, we go to search, see what is a professor actually said something right or wrong. Now, in a lot of college classes, we have laptops. You have absolutely no idea what they're looking at. Unlikely they're going to follow you. They probably just, they play solitaire for some reasons, right? They bored. What happens if we actually making a lecture that every one of them is learning and individualized? Okay? Before, it's not possible. And it's not necessarily easily to be controlled. So you have a personal device, and then one go to one website and one go to another, right? So it's a personalized classroom, but it's not necessarily personalized learning. How can that happen? I have one solution, but it's not a unique solution, but it's not only a solution, but it's certainly one solution. Let me show you how this one is going to work. So this PowerPoint that I have over here, so if I go in, so now for every single one, first I can do the following, okay? I can go like this. This is basically like a PowerPoint, right? And then what happens if you're in the international class, I'm speaking English. What happens if you actually in different, you have other languages? Can you actually using exactly the follow, but you read, follow, use your own language? At least that's what we can do, right? And also, what happens if you just stumble on one concept? You say, oh, geez, I need to learn that. Well, in the traditional classroom, you raise your hand. If the teacher is answer your question, block everybody has to listen to your stupid question, but then the class just enter a halt. What happens if you actually can do something but not off the track? Okay? Now, before, without AI. Now, if everybody have a laptop, you say, hey, I am going to, if you are here, for example, if you go over here, you go to this one, agenda, I'm going to go to this one, and then, like this, right? You can say, hey, I have this one called the slide assistant. You can directly say, okay, here, tell me about this. Okay? Now, this automatically explains the slides for you. And then you say, this one, is too hard. You make it simpler. So this one actually explains this concept. You use your own language. You say, I'm 12-year-old, or I'm not reading very well in English. Tell me, in Thai, in Thailand language. For example, if you say, hey, tell me, using. Okay, so now, just imagine this. So now you actually, so now it's in different language. Okay? So in other words, you can do that. Now, remember, this is actually controlled. If you are on this side, if you are synced with me, you can talk about this. And also, if you actually go here and say, mouse over, I'm going to minimize this one. Mouse over here and say, one size fits all. If you click explore, this one actually say, okay, I want to see something background information here. You actually go in and explore. So you have a classroom kind of learning, but you can be individualized because AI is tailored to your needs on every level. Okay? So now, if you say, I actually, this is fine. I would really want to learn more. I say, okay, one size fits all, to teach that group. I say, I want to explore the concept. I say, this is interesting. I want to learn more about this. Okay? So you go in, you say, hey, something very, very interesting. Teacher is talking about this. And then you say, the back end is AI is working, okay? This take a while, not take too long, but take a few seconds. So now you can see this one actually, it's loading the concept map corresponding to that specific concept, okay? So now you can see this is the central concept, and you can go over here, you can say, hey, I want to learn more about this concept. Okay? And then you can take assessment about your understanding, or you can generate a mini lecture just for this concept. Okay? Or you can go to over here, find the definition. And also here, those are the prerequisites. You say, well, this is a prerequisite to understand this one. You can actually view the concept as a prerequisite for this concept. And you can make it simpler, make it harder. And also for the link over here, this is actually a relation. You say, here, explain the relations between this concept and the central concept. Okay? And also, you can say, well, usually whenever you have two concepts, you want to say, I want to say the typical misconceptions about these connections. Okay? So now you can see with AI, it's almost, AI enhanced personalized learning. You just imagine imagine this. AI, or right now we use better AI, IQ across the board is about 140 or 145. It's crazy. The smart is 1 out of 1,000. So you basically equip everybody behind their back with super smart person can help anything, any question like this. So now you can imagine how this can enhance learning and individualize in a way that I have a unique person, because here it's this person actually remembers me, okay, behind me, and that's truly help me learning anything. So the first thing that I want to share with you is say, how can we make the final step from classroom? Of course, we say flip classroom, we go back to learn, but still you still come back with the class. You still learn like not like individualized learning. You still have a group learning, okay? So how can we make AI behind it to do that? Okay? So the first thing I say, truly individualize or personalize, it's how can we change the way we deliver lectures? How can we, even in a class of a student over there, we learn things together, but everybody learn individually? Without AI, it's unlikely. Okay? This just one example that I have. So here it's like this, for example, you can go in and then you can if we say, oh, this is actually very interesting. If I actually, this, I can, okay, let's find the same kind of drill down to the other concept. So now it's generated another concept map, not like ordinarily think about a concept map like a star, like a sky, with a lot of dots. Those are not concept map. Those are concept map is not for students. Those are for your supervisors. Oh, I have 2,000 concepts. But for the student themselves, they only need focus on one. They only want to know what the relationship between this specific one, what is the prerequisite, what is the skill next, right? So now you can see I drill down on this one. And also, it's actually an entire application that actually do that for. So this is one of the applications I'm going to show you how to, what it is. This application, you can see there are so many actions. Each one of those one here, you can have, those, and then those are the links. And also you can go in here, you actually can you can say, okay, you want to generate a concept over here, and also ask deep reasoning questions. One of the keynote earlier says, we need to train the student how to ask reasoning questions. So this one here, with that concept, and the system say, you ask a deep reasoning questions from this scenario, focus on one concept. Okay? I'm not going to answer, this system is not going to answer stupid question. You can ask, what is X, so what? And also, when you ask a question, the system is not going to answer your question unless you have your initial answer. Okay? If you say, how can I get on the moon? If I have no idea, the AI give me an answer, I have no idea what the answer is right or wrong. So you have to have initial thoughts before you actually, approach the questions. So all those things are built, okay? For this specific application, this specific application, let me get my eyeglasses. So now you have a lot of activities that you can go on this one here. So I'm going to go over here and then, let me see. This specific application that I wrote for, I call it knowledge exploration. You go there, you click, you go, and you ask. There was 128 distinct activities that you actually can act on this. Okay? 128 actions, they group into groups. So I call this one called a stealth assessment. So every behavior the student actually interacted with this one recorded, and also your activities are classified, indicating what kind of learner you are. Okay, earlier Michael was talking about that, MBTI, right? Those are the questionnaires. Those actually, I'm also, quote unquote, a psychologist. Those questions are ecologically kind of interesting because they ask you a question, but your behavior, your true yourself is exhibited in your behavior. So in this case, the 128 is called assess. There are actually a lot of details measures. So in other words, by you, how to learn specific concept, how much time you actually focus on the prerequisite, how much time you're looking at the misconceptions from prerequisite to this concept. When you display an large language return, are you actually trying to go to the details? How long you spend on the detailed explanation? All those are telling, okay? And we call those called a stealth assessment. We're not really putting you into an assessment of scenario. Oh, why don't you do 5 problems and this A, B, C, D? No. As soon as you put this one here, they are alert. We all students before, right? You are giving a multiple choice question. You are no longer yourself. Okay? Those assessments are pre-AI. We do not have a means of really measuring them. Now we have AI, and we have devices that we can measure our latencies. Okay? We can measure from one option to another option. We can tell much, much more. Okay? So all those, this is just one of the applications. So I'm going to go back. Okay. So I'm going to just raise questions. So in other words, now you can see. So here's something that I'm gonna talk about. Basically, I plan to have about the 90 minutes of explaining. I have about 8 applications. KE is just one of them. Just show you it's one of them. Okay. Actually, knowledge exploration, as you know, it's the way that we acquire knowledge. I listed 15 of them, 15 different knowledge exploration, okay? And also I have 15 different ways of teaching knowledge. And also I have 15 different ways of assessing knowledge called the SATA. So I'm not using multiple choice. Again, the moment that we're entering AI, okay, we just have to question everything, every practice we have done before. I'm seriously looking at my 40 years of education as a professor in the university, that every time we want to push the boundary, some system that actually blocks it, oh, you cannot do that. Either technology or some other things. Now when you use AI, you can do all. Okay? Now what do we usually do? We basically teach assessment, right? Teaching and assessment. So I have the 15 different ways of teaching and the 15 different of assessment. We can go into there, okay? One of the things that AI that actually coming to us is, one of the problem was AI early days, like 2 years ago, they always talk about, AI hallucinate. Well, basically, AI does not know how to hallucinate. You think AI is hallucinating. Or AI is telling something that you do not agree, right? Well, isn't that actually a problem? Under what condition that was a problem? In our life, we always have somebody that, it's not trustworthy. Is there a problem for our lives? No. We just don't ask for answers. Right? What's the problem? We don't have any problem with that. AI is smart. It sometimes gives you answers you do not agree. It's not a problem for the AI. It's a problem for you. You want to trust the answers. Right? So hallucination is not a problem for AI. It's a problem for us. We use AI as the extension of a search engine, and we were trained that if we do something like a search, we kind of trust the answers. Right? It's the bad habit that we have with the internet that making hallucination as an issue of AI. But it's not, it's really, it's the way that us, right? And then, what are we going to do? So the application, the Q2L, the question to learn, is something that say, okay, now I'm not using AI as extension of a search engine. I'm using AI as the cognitive partner of ourselves. Okay? Now, always AI, it's a new way that I'm thinking about because I'm going around. It's more like behaving like an AI know-how. Everybody say, "Oh, you know how to use AI. Why don't you teach us how to use AI?" Then I said, "Well, I know how to use AI. I'm not really taking a class on how to use AI and then use AI. No. I'm using AI in my practice. So always use AI, say, let's forget about having AI literacy class. We make AI part of the learning and a part of the assessment. And you have to use AI. So I'm teaching a class. I say, in this class, your 60% of your grades is evaluated by how much you understand, combined how efficient you use AI. If you understand things in the old fashion, you are failing. Because just imagine this, you say, oh, I got an A. I'm a very top of the student. If you go to your employer says, employer asks you, do you use AI? If you say, I'm not using AI, I did not use AI, you're not getting your job, seriously. Okay? So that's always the AI, okay? The last thing, it's VHS. It's like, so far, if we talk about AI, all the news, AI dance, like, in the Chinese New Year gala, right? They have AI, play martial arts, right? But none of the AI so far application help us to understand human. Okay, so VHS is how to understand human. One of the earlier talk about ethics, I did not get the picture, but he explained it to me. It's like, we want to use our own AI. And then I say, that's a great idea, but unless that's probably applicable for a technological advanced country or business. But what about others? So, for example, if you say, well, AI ethics can only be achieved from China or Thailand or others, not in, Bengola or other places. No. Achieving ethic use of AI is not necessarily from the foundational model, at least my opinion. It's how can AI behavior, AI can be explained. How to control them. How ordinary people like us control the behavior of AI. If we rely on the foundational model, we cannot control the AI. Okay? They have a version update. Oh, that's great. How can we control? So now, can we achieve controlling AI behavior from a consumer perspective? That's VHS, okay? And also UAL, that's actually how can we use it in our classroom. So those are 8 applications that I'm gonna do, right? I do have a few things. Everything here, so this is what I'm gonna go to each one of those because we have some time. So I'm gonna go in there, but how all those things work? It's actually I have a framework, okay? I have a framework. My framework is actually called using AI or using technology. There is a ways used ad hoc, okay? Whatever works that's used, and we end up abusing it, realize abusing it, it's too late, okay? That's ad hoc of using of anything, okay? But if we actually understand or we really have a framework, we're probably more cautious and more productive. So that's actually the kind of framework that I want to say. Well, everything like the 8 applications that I have following this framework. So I'm going to talk about this framework, and then we could go back to this one. I will send everybody the link. You can try, because I'm not my background is mathematics and psychology, but I also computer science, computer engineering professor, and everything I showed you, including the PowerPoint presentation, I did it single-handed myself. So feel free to find any bugs and report to me, okay? So the framework is actually research, innovation, and the development, and the evaluation, and the implementation. I call it RIDE-I. Okay, so now if you think about everything we do, especially nowadays, if it's an initial kind of approach, we probably do not have luxury of applying every single thing like this. But for the things that are getting mature, I think we have the luxury of actually consider them in a systematic fashion. So research, innovation, development, and evaluation, and I is implementation. Okay, so all those things are there. By the way, I will give this link to you, because every single one of them, for example, if you go here, if you actually have this link, you can go just mouse over here. You can say explore. For example, like across, the institutional things, you can go over here. You actually can say, okay, I want to have the historical, account on this one, or you can basically type, say, okay, explain this one in simple language, and then to the background, okay. And also you can send the feedback. So I made the system that if you actually send feedback to me, my AI can automatically improve that section of explanation. Okay? So feel free to go in and try that. So in other words, and also for every single one of those, so you can click, this automatically generate a concept map that talk about that as a central, and then basically put the prerequisite and let you explore. Okay? And also, if you actually want to use for, like a university, let me know. And then every exploration that you have recorded with the student. And the student can go in and check, exactly what I did for that concept. How deep did I learn? Okay, so for example, this is what I just clicked. So now if I go if I go over here, you can see, I'm gonna go here. So you can say how did I learn, and also if you actually go in, I'm gonna go in over here just for this. I spend a little bit more time on this one here. So if I go in here, so I'll go to my history. Okay, this is everything that I have done, because I'm so for example, I explored the psychology concepts, and then here it's the concept I had explored. And if you go to detail, this one actually tell me how much I learned about this concept. I have 6 indexes evaluating quality of your individual with AI, okay? Your prompt precision, whether you're asking questions using the right prompt, your iteration depth, how critically you are interacting with AI. Now, those 6 indexes is content free. In other words, basically, I'm looking at, as a professor, I do not have to know exactly what question you ask. I just know how to measure those 6 qualities, okay? So I can send this, maybe later I'll send this to you all. So now I'm going to go to each one of those applications as workshop. And before I move forward, any questions on those? Okay. Any questions? Any questions?
Because the screen is a bit dark, so we couldn't really see
Oh, okay.
it clearly.
Well, that's
เปิดไฟได้ไหม
that's not an AI problem.
เปิดไฟได้ไหมเปิดไฟได้ไหม Can you like tell the name of the website again?
Oh, yeah.
So we
It's
can
actually
follow
right
you.
eye at the, let me see what I can do, okay. It's, well, that's challenging, even for me. It's a right eye, just ride a bike, dash I, and then skoonline.org. Sko Online, the shareable knowledge object online. One word, Sko, S-K-O, online.org. And then that will actually give you this. That's actually give you you can go in and understand what the frameworks are, the principles, overview, and then, I'm going to make this one a little bit. And then you have a research, this is research, what are the key activities. This is actually the guideline for me. This is actually for the Educational Research Center that I'm head of. So that's the one. And then if you, at the end, you did a presentations. And this one actually gave me a lot of presentations, including what we're going to talk, be keynote for tomorrow morning for an hour. I'm going to be also there, okay? So, yeah, this is barely, seeable. So I'm going to do, when I do demo, I'm going to be a little bit more, I would say, make it larger. Okay? So I already showed this KE, right? Every one of the application with the same domain name, okay, is skoonline.org. So this KE here is actually knowledge explore. So if you do not log in here, if you log out, basically this is what you have. Map your knowledge. You can use Google to log in, and you can try as a guest for that. So if you log in, you're logging with your Google, and you're still a user. But from that time on, every explorer you remembered. Okay. So you go in. You can do the following. So for example, if I'm as a learner, so I can explore concepts. I can either any concept. For example, you can say here, I want to learn statistics. Subdomain, with the statistics, you can say descriptive statistics or biostats or Bayes stats, and then over here, you can say you want to learn likelihood, okay? So in other words, this is almost a curriculum-based. You just name it. You can learn history, it doesn't really matter, okay? So now you also can type over here, say, hey, I am a 12-year-old, or I'm a middle school, or I'm a college, I'm in Thailand. You can write, and then from that time on, your concept map is going to be tailored to you. So for example, if I do this one, and basically this is going to display that for me, okay? And it remembers. I also call this one as LAAS, Learning as a Service, okay? So in other words, now you can see, you can see that personalized learning and also self-regulated learning. There are a lot of things related to this, okay? So now you can see I'm trying to learn likelihood. You go over here, you can say, I'm going to generate a lecture about likelihood. So you can specify, I'm going to make it bigger. Is it bigger enough? Still not very good. So you can say, I want to generate the lecture that K-12 friendly. I want to use more visual language. I want to use more examples, so on and so forth. And now you can just say, this one, I'm going to generate a lecture for that, for you, okay? For the concept. So that's individualized. I want this, right? So in other words, that's the one. Okay, so let's just generating. And also, if you want to run this as a class, you can generate a class. You can generate a class, and then when you generate a class, it's mini classes starting with a concept, give you up to 30 concepts, producing a concept map. Okay, so for example, this would be a lecture, a mini lecture about likelihood. Okay. Understand likelihood in the Bayesian statistics. Remember, that's what we have. So you can go in, you can actually, each one of them and give you specific questions. And over here, give you individualized, a help. And you can ask questions, okay? And you are learning with AI remembered, okay? So that's the general lecture. And also you can say, hey, I want to find the resources on this. I want to find the resources, for additional resources. You want the free resources only. And so if you do this one here, is actually go to the internet to generate relevant resources for that specific concept. Okay. Now, if you want to link to your own course library, we just, if you have, MCP or, RAC, you can just do that. Okay? And all your activities, all your actions, 128 activities are recorded. And your learning activities are classified and analyzed. Okay. So that's KE, okay? Now, the other one, so now you can be as a teacher. For example, if I am a teacher, I can see all my classes, and also go to each one. If you can say, here, this is what I did, and you can go in and actually analyze, actually it should be this one here. It should be, if you go to detail, it should give you this is interesting. So let me see what happened. Open. Maybe I cleared the database. But you can get actually a lot of details about the way you learned the concept. Okay. So for example, if I do this one here, let me see. So here is actually measure what is the quality that you interact in learning of this concept. Okay. Now, if you are running a class, if you have a permission from your student, you actually can view how well each of the students interact with the concept, how deep they learn. Okay, so that's the one. The other one here, it's 15 KE. Now this is another one. This one said, well, if you actually want to learn, and then in this case, you actually can explore your concept in all 15 different ways. Okay, so for example, if I have this one, if you are a teacher, you can assign students, say, hey, I want you to learn this concept using those 15 different ways. You actually can generate every single one of them using a prescribed method. So for example, in this case, let me just go to just one of them. So go to psychology and then get a specific type, let's say question-driven. So you can go in here, and then this is the specific concept, okay, that actually make you to explore the concept into a question-driven fashion, okay? And you know that even in STEM or in others, every question, every concept to understand require different type of cognitive operations. And different cognitive operations deserve different ways of learning, okay? So you can have all those things. So now you can see, you can have, so that's the one. And then this one would be, what is that? This is question, this is all question driven. So I can do, like a concept map. I can say, hey, I want to learn this one with a concept map. So now you actually explore this one with a concept map and then find that relations. Okay? So that's one. The other one is actually 15 setup. This is actually 15 different ways of assessing. Okay? Now, this, why we have this one here, actually, let me see. Why select all questions, not a multiple choice question? Because this one is much, much richer. So remember, if we do a multiple choice question, you select A, system automatically deselect B and C and D, okay? Now, if you actually give them the different selections or allow them to select all, they actually exhibit more details about their misconceptions, okay? So this is select all, that one actually have much, much richer data structure for every response that the student give. Here's the documentation, how do you analyze them? So for the detail, let me just show you what kind of set of question that you can do. For example, for any concept, so I have this one here. For each one of them, for example, one of the question, like this is like matrix kind of setup. So for example, you can have this kind of question, any concept, they construct this kind of question. Now you can see, if I have this one, that there is a second order of selection that you have, okay? So you can do this. So you can do this right here. For example, if I go in, if I sign in as myself, okay? So if I sign in as a teacher, okay? So if I select the domain in medicine and then subdomain, into say pharmacology and the specific skills, like drugs, application, specific application into, I can fill in, type like this one here. Then I say, okay, I'm gonna make myself a matrix-based, like this, okay? So I just generate, okay? And then, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna make this one big. So now you imagine this one, say, I am going to, today's homework, it's about this, and I want you to do homework like this. This one is generate the matrix-based kind of assessment question. Now, if you're a professor or you're a teacher, you know that sometimes you say, oh, that multiple choice question just not cut it. You want a different ways of doing that. So this one here, you can see, I'm going to go here. So this is a question that actually, see now, this is the question generated. You just selected that concept, select sub-concept, so on and so forth, and this is the question you generate. You do this one here, and then the system actually remembers the latency between which button you click and what button you click next, and how often you unclick. Remember, those are telling, right? If you are the teacher behind the student back, you can say, come on, why you want to select that one, or why you want to disconnect that? You can tell. Now we have AI can tell that too. Okay? So now this is 15 different ways of those one here, and of course you can, you after this, you are a teacher, you can do this. You can sign the questions to the student, and then you want the student to do, in other words, you have all those information. Okay. So those are the kind of assessment. See, now you can see how AI can be helpful, right? So the next thing I want to do is the VHS. This one, one of the things, as I mentioned to you, that the AI right now, almost any application of AI, okay. When we look at the AI, they probably more, they actually have a tension between industry and educator. Industry right now is played a role that's almost completely irresponsible. They put out something there, they ignore educators. Okay? For example, a few months ago, ChatGPT, OpenAI just say, hey, we have a learning and training. They have no idea how many educators' job is at stake. They put down, even Google like a notebook LM, okay? You realize the notebook LM, it's almost like a very early version of Khan Academy. The Khan Academy coming in, so everybody can use Khan Academy. I'm a statistician. I spent 30 years of teaching statistics. If I'm looking at one concept that Khan Academy teaches statistics, I would say, oh, I'm not going to teach that way. I know my students. I will teach to my students. But for everybody else, oh, let's use it to teach, so on and so forth. It's really not, and then in AI, even AI right now, it's pretty much mimicking the perfect human, not ordinary human. So here, I'm going to show you the application that I did. It's trying to see how can we use AI to mimic real human, okay? Now, then you say, well, what's the difference? Isn't that the generative AI is like a real human? Well, it is like a real human. But actually, you can see they're like a real human. It's very deceiving because they just mimic the normal behavior of a human. Remember, they have the conditional probability. You have one thing, and then they look at the most likelihood of the next action, right? Unless you really look at the detail, you cannot find the flaw. Okay? But when we interact with a different person, they're different. They push back. You want to ask a question, they're not going to answer it to you. Well, they feel like, resistant of your questions. That's something that we probably want to do. And also, as a behavior scientist, I want to understand how humans interact. Just to give you an example. So I'm gonna go to my dashboard here. Okay. I have about 900 virtual humans here. Okay. So let me show you what the. So I am going to this one here. I can simulate this one here. I have like 600 virtual human. Every single one of them. Of them. For example, this is an empathetic health coach. And I'm gonna go to a specific one, maybe like a student, and then seeking help. Okay, so now the student with ADHD or spatial reasoning weak learner. okay? So now if you go over here, it's the virtual human that I have simulated. There are 15 different psychological profiles. I'm not using the, BMTI to do that. Okay, I'm just describe the student, and then I want to make the best approach to mimic those 15-dimension psychological profile. Okay, and then one thing, which is, of course, it's assumption here. It's every single one of the individuals. For example, if I ask you, hey, Jean, let's have dinner together tonight. Well, the moment you're hesitant, something's going on in your mind, right? Otherwise, you just say, sure, right? Now, what is going on in your mind? We usually consider, intuitively say, you know what? Maybe there's some views are debating, okay? Now, what is those some views? What are those some views? Well, psychologically, if you look at the personality, studies, they consider each, right now we use a popular term called agents, okay? They probably have a small agent over there talking, okay? So now, how can you mimic this? So here, if I actually configure this one here, that's the configuration. Each one of them have their agents. They have a specific activations, specific, influences and resistance. So there are more. I can add more, okay? Each one of them, I can add it. I can change in their influences, okay? So now you can see if I do this, so I'm going to do this, and each one of them have underlying psychological drives, okay? So each one of those 600, I can make another 600 if I have time. They actually are those. Okay? They actually have, this is multi-agent structure. Every single one of them are composed in this way. They have 15 dimensions. They have 3 type of agents, trait-based, state-based, regular-based, and every time they actually have parameters to control. So now, if you go over here for this, right? Where is that? Yeah. So if I just ask, say, how are you? Okay, are you ready to learn mathematics? Let's just ask this. Imagine this is a human or somebody with the following kind of scenario. I'm going to make this one big. Let me see what scenario. Okay. If this is somebody like this, I'm a student who finds geometry and a special, task really challenging. If this one here, right, for this person, if I ask the question, I say, how are you? Are you ready to learn mathematics? Say geometry. Okay. Now you say, well, how is this person going to respond? Okay. I'm going to do this. Okay. I am going to go this way here. So now you can see I can mimic every single person. How do they respond? Okay, how do they discuss? And how do they come up with this answer? So now, if they say, hey, I'm hanging there. Geometry? Honestly, that stuff still feels like a fog to me. Because remember, this is geometry. This person, it's not a geometry, like a person, right? So now you can see this one here, and then I actually can pick the brain. I can actually look at this person inside this person. How did those 6 personalities actually discuss about these responses? Okay? So now if every virtual human, I can control at this level. Doesn't matter whether the underlying large language model you have, because this one controls. Okay? So they actually talk, and then now you can see this one here basically says, I'm going to make it smaller. This one basically said, okay, this is the question, so you can see the first agent, this is the output, this is the reason, okay? And every single one of them you can do, okay? And then and you can save the data and analyze, okay? So now, in other words, if you really consider every virtual human, like humanoids, for example, at home, one of the issues right now, we're going to have issues with humanoids in our house because we do not understand them. Because we cannot directly interpret their behavior from the large language model, from a foundational model. We need to have the behavior, model, right? So this one actually, does that. So that's a virtual human. So now this one actually can run an experiment. I actually went a little bit farther. I do simulations. I actually do the following. Let me just show you one thing, the other thing that I do. If I want to do the following, that's imagining that we actually run small focus groups, okay? I can construct my own team operating like Zoom. I can grab any member with the specific personality, join my Zoom. And I'm the person here. So for example, if I do this, I'm going to do this one here, okay? I'm going to say, hello. Can you all start introducing yourself? Okay, now every single one of them started behaving like what you defined in the talk. Let me see where the was. Yeah. Let's see what happened. Yeah, so the voice is not. Okay. So now you can see how powerful AI is. I can use any way that I want to use it for, right? And also I can do the following. So let me just do this. So I'm gonna just do a little bit further on this one because I think this is something that a little bit more interesting, I think, to you. So if I make myself as a researcher, oh, by the way, the system automatically correct themselves. For example, if you observe something that was not right, it's actually automatically created. This called the reflective, reflective learning. The system actually learns. Okay. So for example, if I'm a researcher here, I can do the following. I can run experiments. I can create experiments. And I can select what my studies are and my research questions, my observations, and automatically generate pairs of agents, and they discuss, and you analyze. AI analyze data, and AI generate research questions from their conversation and write a text report for you. Or you can create a reviewer panel, ask a paper with you together. Okay? So just give you an example here. So here is some of my experiments. So here I was able to create 15 different ways of student learning mathematics problem. I have 15 different ways of helping them. Okay? And then I just launch a simulation, and now this specific pair of students and then teacher, they actually started to converse. Okay, so for example, if I generate a talk, saying this one here, and then you can see that this is starting with this one here. Now you can see this two virtual. One is virtual seeking help. One is offer help. They actually started talking to each other, and then each one of them, the underlying mind is simulated. You can go in and check, And at the end, the data, entire data, about 500,000 tokens of data saved, and it can serve as your case study for the specific interactions. Okay. For example, this is what the teacher says. You can go in and you can pick the brain. This is actually how the teacher interact with the person, and this one after another. And here is actually measure how those two virtual individuals, their empathy level match, conflict resolutions, how do they resolve. And then at the end, you have something like this. So I'm going to go back, go back again. Where's that thing? So they can continue. I'm gonna go back again, and then so I'm gonna go back to dashboard. So now you see I run some studies. You can go to the studies. So I'm gonna go to my research. Basically, this one gonna have the simulations you have. So this is one of the earlier. I can go in. I can actually see how each of the the conversations, this is where actually you can play. This is the conversations that that they actually one at a time do, right? So if I go back here, I actually can do other things. So I can go in and can go here, and then I can do research on those. So for example, here I can actually see for this specific interaction. Okay, I want to identify exactly what are those major behavior variables for the learner or for the one for them to do, and I can analyze. For example, here I identify 5 different things from the low math person and those teacher. If I do say, okay, go ahead and analyze those. Go ahead and analyze those one. They can analyze every single detail. Go to those 500,000 tokens. Pick up exactly what sentence actually exhibit that specific feature. Okay, so let me just do this. So for example, here's rating is like a 3. For example, if I go to deep dive, I go in, this one actually in those things, pick up exactly what they have. If you go over here, this one says the following. Too bad it's, and then this says, what specific moment in this conversation actually demonstrate openness to this one. So you can see here, you say, hey, in turn 6, and this is the evidence in that setting. This is the description why this shows openness. Okay. And then of course, if you do, and you actually can go over here. This one actually, I call that here is actually study writing paper for you. You can write the papers. And this is disclaimer, AI is sending and then give you the checklist, generate 10 checklists, and then start to ask you what kind of, this one going to generate research question. Let me just go to this one here, and then we're going to have questions. So this is a 10 kind of checklist. It's almost like I'm a professor, AI is my graduate student. I say, here, go analyze. You say, oh, I'm going to do it. I say, before you analyze, you make sure you understand things. So, for example, in this case, here you say, this one says, okay, in order to do this, you need to find the expertise to go beyond me and you. You want to find other factors to that. You say, yes, I agree. And this one was AI. AI say, I understand, and so on and so forth. So let me just go through very quick. I will show you. And then go over here, understand, again, understand. Okay, and then here it's like, yes. And here's yes, oops. Now, the way you type how much you understand at the final stage is going to divide the proportion of authorship. How much AI's work, how much is your work? Okay. Of course, right now I don't have time to type all the details. Okay. And there's one more here. And now the system says research question, okay? So the AI is going to generate a research question for you because this is the research question. So you say, hey, I want to, based on this data, I want to do, study those 3 research questions. You say, sure, say yes, okay? Or actually, you can research questions, and then this one says, okay, you want to, over here, research question, okay, it says research question, and then you go to the, configure the articles, right? So you go back, and then now you want a case study or a technical report, and then those are the variables, and then you want to say, and then next thing here, go to the next, and then you want to basically, let me save this one here, save this one as one, save. And now the next stage is, because I'm a virtual human, I have all expertise that you can make me behave. You can make this AI work paper for you, so they're going to write 1 section each time with you. With the, so for example here, you can have an individual academic writer or team editorial board with you, or you can basically say, okay, go ahead and AI write for me. So you can say, hey, what language you want to write and which format and how long. Okay, so now if you say, just to select this one here, it's going to compose all the data, okay, and then give you a huge prompt you just send to deep research. Okay, this is like this is the size. It's about 500,000 tokens. Just send it to AI to do the research. Okay. So you can build your own virtual human. You can build your own team. You can build your own meetings. All those. So that's what AI can do. Not only, the previous one is AI help you to learn, and this is when AI help you to do at least behavior research. Okay? So that's one. I will also send you the link. You can try. The last one is actually this one here. This one here, it's actually for the teaching. I call I'm going to use the one that I have for my university. Okay. No, not this one here. This one actually, it's more. It's a complete solution for using AI to do research. So here's the kind of things that I have. So this entire I will have this one here. Oops. So for this one here, I have I use all those, I'm doing this research for the very good part of my last 30 years as a professor in the U.S. All those things are, it's a part of my research. But technologically, I have quite a few other things, okay? I have 100 agents, 100 ITS agents, okay? That every single one of the agents that monitor student and behavior. For example, here's the 100 agents that are what they do, okay? I have 30 core agents, 27, 43 kind of, other agents. So every single one of them are different, serving different roles, okay? So in other words, I try to have the tutoring, because when the tutoring, when we're human, the students say, stuck on this one, I say, well, why don't you do a problem here? Because we can explain why you need to do a problem. But when the AI give you suggested pedagogy, we also deserve explanation. Say, why you want me to do a problem right now? So that's called the explainable pedagogy. So every single one of them, they are defined, every single one of them defined by what input, what data they need to get, and what data they need to put in, and the decision process. Okay, so this is what this 100 of them. So for each one of the process, if the student are confused, this is how those agents group are going to work. If the student actually they have a production struggle and so on and so forth, so each one of them they actually configured that way. Okay, so that's the one. And also, I have others. For example, one of the things that we have it's for this one I would talk about is 15 different knowledge exploring and this method, and also how to do safeguard. When AI producing some content, how human or professors make sure it's right. So I have an entire safeguard procedure of how do you make sure the student getting the content are the one day after you approved. Okay. So let's just give you the following, give you an example how this one works. So I'm going to go to go to this one here. So again, you can try. I have a sample teacher and a sample student. For the sample teacher, for example, you go in, you can create a class. Okay. In each of the class, there are two kind of ways of creating classes. One is curriculum-based, one is competence-based. Okay. So for example, this would be a typical competence-based class that you have, and every single one of them, this is the entire configuration about safeguarding and generate content and so on and so forth for the content. And then you can sign to the students. So for example, here you have a specific code. If the student make this code, the student enrolled this class. Now you can have the student data that being captured, right? So that's one. So so that's the one. So for the student, so let me look in as a student. I'm going to look in as a student. I'm going to sign up as a student. Yeah. So now I am a student. So this is a class. I can directly go to have assessment. I can just test out of this class, or I can study learn. Okay. So now there are 10 competencies here. Every single one of them have 3 levels. Okay, and each one of them you can go in you either learn or you either self-explore, or you learn, teach you, and then you can do assessment on that specific competence. So for example, this would be the learning, okay? So it's generally the learning content, okay? Remember the 15 different ways? And this would be the teaching, okay? So this would generate a scenario having a tutoring system teach you. And the way the teaching this one, we have a teacher and you have a study mate. Okay? You and the study mate, which is AI, actually working together with this problem, and then in a competition kind of mode, and then you answer a question, the fake student answer a question, and finally you're evaluated. Okay? And every single one of the time that you say, oh, how am I doing? And then those 100 AIs, you can say, I only want a 20. I only have one. So for example, see this one here is actually, so now you have a study mate, okay? And then, this is, so now basically this is the question that I ask. You can make this one here. You can make the study mate on demand, and you can make the study mate answer the question, and the AI can interact with the study mate. You actually have a vicarious learning environment, okay? And then anytime you can make AI, and when you do AI analysis, it's going to ask you, say, how many ITS agent you want? You want 80, or and then that's costly. In other words, if you have more AIs, that's going to be more, right? So, and then that's the learning, and then you can interact, and then you're competing. So study mate answer one, you answer, so that's one. And then the last one here, this is actually. One of those setup. So you basically give your question for that. Every single one of them you can safeguard. In other words, you can evaluate the way that safeguard content. Well, this is a set. I'm going to close one. the way you safeguard content, it's actually, let me do the safeguard content here, because we do not have a whole lot of time. So I'm going to go to the safeguard content. If the AI create a safeguard, create an item. So for example, let me just select one of those. Let me see, go there. So here, this is a lot of. So here you have content settings. Okay, you have a portal display. How do your students see it? And also you have this content and generation, and you have safeguard. I'm going to go to safeguard and content over here. So basically, looking at each one of those things, this is generated one, and then you can you go over here. So you say you want to see how this problem being generated. So here is the questions that generated by the AI, and at the end you have your critical from AI, and you can make it very critical about check the factory, accuracy, pedagogy, safety, misconceptions, and if it's a question, you look at whether the answers or the questions, the destructors are pretty well made. So you can make it very, very strict. So for example, if you click here, this is going to evaluate this set of questions, and then something like an obviousness check. Sometimes like say, well, are they answer right? So you can have all the detailed ways of checking, make sure that when the student are having this question, and they do not come back and argue for points. Okay, because it's AI generated. So for example, this one here, let me just show you very briefly, then we can have questions. So now you can see there's critical analysis. Okay, you have like AI generated ones, and every single one of those questions, destructive quality analysis, because that's what we usually when we give a test question, we have to pay attention to that. Well, in theory we have to, but in practice we don't have the time. Okay, but that's what AI is for. And also, you can generate, you can generate content. You can export. For example, in this case, you can generate content. You can generate the learner, lecture content. You can spend specific ones like this one. You can generate up to 40 different ways related to this competency, PowerPoint, concept analysis, and generate for you to give lectures in class. Okay, I leave 20 minutes for questions, and also if you want me to do more, I think this is not very easy to see. We can see in a computer to do that. Okay. Sorry about this.
Thank you, Professor, for the fascinating is all around in AI personal learning. I think that now we can use this platform for every second of the learning process. So my question is, I would like to ask you, in your experience, what will replace the traditional exam or grading scenario that better than reflects to approach right now?
That's really a tough question. Okay? I'm actually sometimes, I'm very happy to make something happen when I make it done. But after a few minutes, I was not sure whether I'm doing something right or something wrong. Obviously, right? Because think about this one here. I could not say anything about chemistry or physics. I can't. I taught statistics for 30 years. I'm actually a good professor. When I use this one to produce something, if I'm the chair of the department, I would not hire myself. That's the problem. The system is not made for statistics. I make something to teach statistics that beats me, statistic professor, for 30 years. Now you want to ask, is this one actually good or bad? Okay? It's really a tough question to answer. You know, if you think about it right now, you know, everybody use AI like 100 miles an hour. You know, they go fast, okay? We cannot stop. Obviously, we can't. If we do too fast, we're like making ourselves out of our jobs, right? So it is really, really hard. You know, that kind of question cannot be directly answered by technology, answered by individual. That need to be answered by policy.
So what the new definitions of the human intelligence in the future, in your opinion?
Well, there is, you know, there is optimistic and there are pessimistic. Okay. Optimistic says that we're invincible. We always win, right? Optimistic. You know, AI just working for us. Those kind of claim I can say that people probably believe me, but I don't believe myself. Because one, I want to make myself working on this one. So let me go to the specific ones I did not show you here. Where's the document? Let me see. Let's see, documentations. So my system, oh, by the way, this entire system, 8 applications, I have another 8 still cooking, just done by an army of 1. I did it. It's just crazy. Well, I did not do it by myself. I actually have I have 28 software agents. Okay? Those are my workers. Okay? At any given time, before I go to bed, I say, oh, I got an idea. I just ask them to do it. And then the next morning, I come back and say, oh, you should have done that, you should have done that. And then after a couple of days, they're done. Okay? Now, if you still think that, humans' creativity and so on and so forth, if you have not really working with them at that level, you probably think, oh, human, yeah, we're great. But you work at that level, and then the thing they produce go way beyond what you originally planned, you're really going to be skeptical about your claim. Okay? So human intelligence, optimistic way says, oh, we're going to be much, much smart. They're just a tool. Okay? That's very, very optimistic. And sometimes when I make something happen just like this, go beyond what I originally even imagined, I'm actually pessimistic. That's what happened. Remember, everything over here, the coloring, everything, I did not type a single line of code. Okay? Including this. So let me just show you just show you another thing here. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to this one here. Here's something that I wanted the AI to do. Okay. Because one of the arguments that people do is the following: say, well, explainable AI or explainable pedagogy. So I'm going to do this. I'm looking as a student here. Okay, so I am going to go to a class. Okay. This one here, it's actually gave me about 12 competencies, and I do not know what to start. Then I do the following. I need to type my secret command, okay? AI think that's what it is. Recommendations. Well, there's a secret command. Actually, I want AI to recommend things for me to do. And I want to say, well, I want to be explainable. They actually organize a graph and then does the following. Okay, let me go back how each of the AI works. Okay, let me go here. I should have remembered that specific secret that I had done. But I don't use it very often, because every time it does it, it wastes me about $2 tokens. So I did not do that. So let me show you how those AIs work, okay? So here's, I'm going to go to one of the class, just any class over here. So in this class, I can configure my 100 AI ITS specifically for this class. So here, I have this one called ITS agents, okay? So customized agents. This is my 100 agents, okay? 100, so for example, if I want to have this 3, and then those are each of the agents over here, right? So now you can see, I actually can go to each one of them. Let me see, let me do this, So each one of them I can customize. I can customize exactly for this agent what my class population is. I say K-12, ESL, or non-English speaker, okay? And then this one, for the 100 agents that I have, I actually have for each of the agents is the following usually, is like for where you get the data, where you send your data to who, to which group of agents accept the data to the processing, okay? So when the students say, I want me to recommend to me for what I do next, I select 80 agents. They actually do a graph and showing step by step where the data join from, sent to the next one, and then do the cycle, do a play for me. Okay? So, to reply your question, if you're really looking at AI and using AI at that level, you cannot help of being sad. I'm sorry, that's the reality. Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor, for sharing today. I have a question. Currently, for PSU, our staff normally use Moodles. So we have like videos, materials, quizzes on Moodles. So if we want to like transfer to the AI platform, for the beginning, what would you suggest? Should we like shift from what we have right now, or change the platform to AI, or just mix like Moodle plus AI for certain part of learning?
I think that's a good question, because that's a lot of institutions have the similar issue. Because just imagine how much we have invested in our previous LMS, and then every single edition that we have, content-wise, for example, we have numerous hours of faculty or the hours put it in. They're like meticulously crafted. They're great content. There's no way you're going to have a hard time convince university. Oh, let's forget about those $20 million we spend. That's not going to happen. Okay. So how can we make it happen? Make AI happen. So one of the things that I think very reasonable is making the AI like a human. So imagine this: I have a textbook, and I have a student. We hire a professor. What a professor does? Professor is basically trying to connect content with the learner. Oh, you do not understand that chapter? I'm going to explain to you. That's what we do, right? So at least we played that role. Okay? Whenever there's a content, you use AI to enhance it. Okay? That way, you always bootstrapping existing content and gradually using AI. Let me give you the example. So this one here, the other thing that I was going to do is the alwaysai.org, the always AI. Okay? So here, let me just give you an example. This way, as I mentioned to you, I said, well, don't take the separate AI literacy class. They're going to forget. Okay? Just like we were, way back we learned computer language, for example, oh, everybody take basic, take Fortran, but after a while, geez, who's going to remember that if you do not do projects, right? So this is what I did. So I'm actually having a class, I'll offer a class on this one. So let me show you offering class on this one. So I'm going to log in, okay? I created a few classes. One of the classes that I actually have students in, and there are other classes, so I'm going to go in for example, if I go in as a student, okay? And then this is actually fallacy class. This is, critical thinking class that I always want to take. I have 13 weeks of content, and I have 66 lessons, every single one of them corresponding to a specific rhetorical fallacy. So I go into here, and I create a content. Just imagine this is what a video that you have created, okay? Now you can see I actually have a button here called Explore Concept and Skills. If I click here, this one actually connect that content with AI and let AI to explain it for me, okay? So it's almost the same way if you already have a lot of content, but usually well-made content, you have associated documentations like metadata, okay? Your metadata is going to be a perfect prompt for the AI to explain, okay? All you need to do is just connect them. So now you can see this one was another program called a KE, right? Not Explorer. And the other one was always AI, that's a course. I automatically matching them. So now you always use whatever you think is the right content you have created, not a problem. But you always can add AI as enhance of your existing content. Just like a professor would do to explain sections in the book to the student. Okay? Does that answer your question? I have 5 minutes. Okay? New questions? Or somebody over there have a question? Okay. I don't know how do you use AI in your class or, because so here I'm not using AI for writing because that's almost the first wave of using AI to help people write, right? But those you help people write unless you have different. I also have I did not show you. I have a writing coach, which is different from the existing writing help. I did not have a chance to say it, to do that, because just if you really think that mighty AI is such a powerful being, super smart. Anytime you need it, you can call it, to call upon it, help. And you probably have a lot of ideas of using it. Okay? Okay, we're 4 minutes ahead of the time, so thank you very much.
Before all of you take a group photo in front of this desk. Okay.